Hi, this is Katie Tunstall, and you're listening to the Mixtape on Radio Fremantle.
This is the Mixtape podcast. I am your host, Mark. If you enjoy this week's episode, please feel free to rate it 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can find over 140 archive episodes just by visiting themixtapepodcast.com, and there you will also find the link to my Mixcloud. On the Mixcloud channel, you can also hear the music that my guests pick for their mixtape. Also on the website are my social media links and YouTube channel. You can find all of that good stuff at themixtapepodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hello and welcome to this week's mixtape, and today on the show, what a pleasure to welcome Katie Tunstall. How are you, mate?
I'm doing absolutely great. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well. It's very early here in Perth, but that's all good. So we're talking Eye to the Telescope 20th anniversary, coming to Australia to tour. It hasn't been that long. You're only here feels like 5 minutes ago on the supporting train.
Yeah.
How was that tour, first of all?
Oh, it was magic. They're great guys. They're a really amazing live band, because they're one of the few that they just do it. They're very impulsive and on the fly, and they'll change things and they'll react to stuff on the night. They're not kind of stuck to this, which can sometimes be amazing. I'm not knocking it, but it's really great seeing a band that is sort of quite impulsive on stage. They're just fantastic musicians. Pat's just the most amazing vocalist, and he's got such a great band of players around him. So, and I believe they've just had Butch Walker join them now as well, which is, it was a great experience, and I was very grateful to play for their fans in Australia. They've got a really fantastic crowd of people in Oz, and that was why I decided to come back. Really, was that it was a beautiful chance to sort of rekindle my love affair with Australian fans and see if I couldn't come back and do a little headline tour myself.
Oh, fantastic. We're really looking forward to seeing you here. For Perth people, it is the 19th of May, Astor Theatre, and that's the kick-off date for the tour, and then you're hitting all the usual spots: Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Brisbane. It's destroyalllions.com for tickets and info for that one. You got some interesting band members as well, I saw when I was looking at your socials yesterday.
Different, right? I was opening solo for Train with my loop pedal, and I'm doing something I've seen other musicians do, and I've never done it myself, which is find some killer musicians where you travel to and just form a super band, which is what I've done. So I actually met Jackie through Train because Jackie was roommates with Train's drummer Matt at college. And that's how we met. And Jackie and I were laughing because we're both Scottish Asian. I'm quarter Chinese, so we were laughing about that. And it was really cool when we'd done the Sydney show on the Train tour. I obviously finished at 8:45 or whatever before they went on. And I raced across town in Sydney to get to Roachford's gig, who's a UK artist that I've sung. I jump up and sing his big hit Cuddly Toy with him. And Jackie was playing drums for Roachford.
Wow.
And Jimmy actually got up and did a song in this little club. It was amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah, Roachford, friend of the show. He's a frequent guest on the mixtape. Yeah,
What an unbelievable musician he is, and just
so good. And I had no idea he fronts Mike and the Mechanics. It was absolutely completely off my radar. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the most incredible singers I've ever sung with.
And you've got also on guitar is Kathleen.
Halloran.
Yeah.
So Kathleen was actually Jackie's suggestion. It's like, look, we really need another person, and I'd love to get a woman in the band because partly because I love having a balance in the band, but it's really great for backing if we could find a good singer to do the kind of higher backing vocals. And I just love finding killer female lead guitarists because they're not that common.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely attest to her brilliance. I saw her only a couple of weeks ago. She was opening for the Coronas. I saw them in Perth.
Things about her. I can't wait to be best friends with her forever.
All right. So Eye to the Telescope then, like a lot of people, I was introduced to you and your music through your incredible performance on Later with Jools Holland. I remember seeing that live, and I was sort of religiously watched Jools Holland every single week. And I always used to enjoy that. Like they always had that spot in the lineup where you didn't have a setup; it was just a solo artist in the middle of the
middle of
yeah. What are some of your memories of that show, and how did what's the impact on your career?
crazy experience, because I wasn't due to be on it. It was just a last minute phone call because Nas the rapper pulled out, so they had this spot, and they just got me to fill it. And I didn't really know who was on until I got down to the studio, and then it was Anita Baker, Jackson Browne, and The Cure. It was just unbelievable show. And the weirdest thing was that I'd made the record, but it wasn't out yet. And Black Horse and the Cherry Tree was not on the album. It was a brand new song that I'd started writing to learn how to use my loop pedal. And my label boss said, "Oh, you should play that woohoo thing." And I was like, "What?" Yeah, I said, "It's not on the album." And he said, "Don't worry, just trust me and play it." And I did, and that was that. And I think it was just so surprising because I never imagined that people seeing what I was doing was gonna be as important as them hearing the music. And YouTube was very new at that point, and, so it was kind of one of the first viral videos, where if that hadn't existed, then I don't know if it would've done what it did, because people were sending it to each other.
Yeah, I think the loop pedal was quite new then as well. It wasn't like so. It was obviously the little ginger fellas made it sort of like pretty mainstream now. Everybody knows what a loop pedal is.
I'd never seen anyone use it as a drum.
Mm.
I'd seen people use it noodling guitar or doing vocal stuff or beatboxing. I remember my friend had it in his backpack at a rehearsal room, and I was just talking about how bored I was playing open mic nights with my guitar. And I really wanted some rhythm. And I said, "Well, surely if I hit my guitar, it's gonna sound like a drum." And I did it, and it sounded awful. It doesn't work. If you just hit your guitar and I was like, "Oh, well, that's that then, it doesn't work." But my mate was a sound engineer, and he was like, "No, no, no, we can EQ it. We can put an EQ pedal in." And we ended up like putting in a little 4-channel desk on my pedal board so that we could EQ it properly. And that was how we did it.
Excellent, amazing performance. Yeah, and I think when you look around, like it comes up on my YouTube quite a lot because on the right hand side is a sort of suggested video, and when you watch that, you can see like the other artists in the room, like they're like they're buzzing as much as people watching it. I always think like,
So cool. It's
yeah,
Nah, and Anita Baker just beaming away. The cool thing about it was that it was so last minute. I didn't really have time to get worked up about it. So it
yeah,
was very off the cuff and kind of, yeah, I didn't even have time to like get an outfit for it. I just like grabbed whatever was clean in my flat at the time. And I think that, and I'd been using it in coffee shops and pubs, and so it just didn't feel like a big deal. And I think if I'd had longer to get worked up about it, I would have got a lot more nervous.
So, title track to the album, Eye to the Telescope, that's only just come out this year.
Yeah.
What happened there? How come it took so long?
I know, 20 years to write a song, it's a bit much. I'd started the song, and it was just I wanted to write a title track once I'd got the title of the record. But it was coming out really gentle, very soft ballad, and I just felt like it was gonna take the overall tempo of the record down too much. And so I just abandoned it. I wrote a verse and a chorus. I was like, "Yeah, it just doesn't feel right." And then I signed this new deal with BMG, who put this record out, and they've just been amazing. And they would, really diving into what we could put out to sort of give fans something special. The re-release, and I mentioned it, and they were like, "Well, you should finish it. Take 20 years to finish it." I think it's very different how it's turned out than if I had finished it at the time. I think it would have been quite a lot more conventional if I'd finished it then. And it's quite out there now.
Stargazer edition of the album, the 2 LP I was looking at, the vinyl, the sort of deluxe version, lovely pink and blue vinyl.
Great.
What have you got? There's loads of extra like sort of deluxe tracks on the second disc. What are people going to get when they buy that disc in terms of music?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm looking at your T-shirt, and definitely on one of the collections, it's my live cover of The Prayer by Block Party. There's really nice live versions of stuff. Like, I was posting a story on Instagram yesterday about the Australian tour, and I put in Other Side of the World, and this crazy, like, live electronic remix of Other Side of the World came up that's on the Stargazer edition. It's like, oh my God, I didn't even go back and listen to this. This is wicked.
I made a conscious note to myself to not make any Other Side of the World references or puns when we're talking about the Australian tour.
And New Zealand are the only places that are allowed to.
All right, and the vinyl edition and all that, all the CDs and all the bundles, they're all available from your website. And as I always say to people in Perth, don't go to Amazon or any of the big places. Support your local record store. If you're in Perth, Midland Records, Rhubarb Records, they will all get it in for you.
It's all really beautiful, revamped artwork. So we've taken a lot of the original artwork and upgraded it to a kind of cosmic level. And there's a couple of Easter eggs actually on the if you zoom in on my eye on the Stargazer edition, the little light in my eye is actually Saturn. You can't see it with a naked eye.
Brilliant, brilliant.
You're listening to The Mixtape.
The Mixtape is brought to you in association with Giglist. Giglist is your one-stop shop for all your live events. If you're looking to get out and experience some live music, you can filter by artist, venue, suburb or date. If you are an artist, it will take you less than a minute to list your gig for free on the website. The Mixtape brought to you in association with Giglist. Gigs in a list.
Okay, Katie, let's have a chat about your mixtape.
That's how I got into music. I didn't really listen to music till I was like in my mid-teens. I wasn't like mad. My parents didn't really have a stereo, and I would just sort of listen to Top of the Pops and whatever was on the radio. But when I was 15, we started recording mixtapes, and a friend gave me a mixtape when I was 14 that just changed my life. So I'm very excited.
That's exactly the sort of the origin story of the show. Is I got given a mixtape when I was 16, and that started off on a amazing journey. And the guy who gave me that mixtape in 1989, 90 was the guest on the show for episode 100 of the mixtape. So
cool.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Tracks that was on that tape.
Sorry, say again. What was that?
You tell me a few tracks that were.
So it was a blues rock sort of thing. So it was AC/DC, Whole Lot of Rosie. There was Cream, Eric Clapton, Gary Moore, Parisian Walkways. I remember was on there. Yeah, it was like just blues, Led Zeppelin. Yeah, just loads of blues rock. Walter Trout, Jeff Healey Band.
Mine was by my friend Mario did it for me, and there was PJ Harvey, Flaming Lips, Nina Simone, Cocteau Twins, Tom Waits. It was all over the place. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We always kick off the mixtape with an attention-grabbing track. Yeah. So what track would you put on there for an attention grabber?
So I really, really love covers. I love hearing artists doing covers of famous songs. And I also love when songs totally challenge my music nerd brain. And so for this, the one that still absolutely grabs my attention when I hear it is Devo's cover of Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. It's the most mental cover version of a song, and I love it. I'm sort of addicted to it, but it's really difficult to find the one because the drum pattern is just bonkers. But it's such a brilliant version of the song where it just sounds 100% Devo, but then you know it's a Rolling Stones song.
That's been picked 2 or 3 times. You're in good company there. Danita Sparks from L7 picked that. That's a great choice, and I don't think that people really recognise how big Devo are. They're massive all over the world. They're so well known.
They're a very influential band on other musicians.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that it's so difficult. I think Talking Heads probably it applies to as well. It's so difficult to be ubiquitous when you're really weird. you know, and it just, you've got to hit a certain time and place and set of circumstances for your weirdo band to do like really stratospherically well. And so I think the fact that Devo are kind of globally known and celebrated is just, thank God the weirdos got the keys to be able to show us how it's done in a different
Sure.
way.
All right. Track 2 of your mixtape, Katie, is a song that you sing when you're on your own in the car or the shower. What would you like to break out with, mate?
I think, well, this is another problem where I am absolutely terrible at remembering lyrics. And so I have to choose a song that I actually know the lyrics to, because it's really annoying when you're trying to sing along to a song and you don't know the words. And so I think I would have to choose Won't Back Down by Tom Petty. So that's one that I sing all the time. And Tom Petty's so interesting because the lyrics, there's a simplicity to his lyrics where someone else doing it, it might almost be cheesy, you know, talking about Ventura Boulevard, or, you know, it's this kind of anthemic air punch stuff. They still, like, even Free Falling as well, they're just so emotional to me. And he's one of the few, well, maybe not one of the few, but definitely one of the artists where the singles do it for, you know, you don't have to be clever and go and look for an album track. They're just incredible, powerful songs. There's something baked into the song that makes it more powerful than it seems, if that makes sense. Well, Back Down is like medicinal, you know, it'll get you through some shit.
Track 3, Katie, you could have had your track 1 choice for this one, but track 3 is, what's your favourite cover version?
Favorite cover version is now going to undercut the deep cut choice. But I'm going to choose This Mortal Coil, Song to the Siren, which is a Buckley song. And I just think it's one of the most extraordinary recordings I've ever heard. And that was on my first mixtape. And I think Liz Fraser, you know, I'm very proud to be part of a lineage of female Scottish singers. There's just so many that have come and broken the mold. Annie Lennox, Shirley Manson, you know, but Liz Fraser being really one of the most extraordinary vocalists I think ever. That song is, again, totally made it their own, but I will always put that on a mixtape.
That is one of my favourite cover versions of all time, that. And I was recently watching the Jeff Buckley documentary. I don't know if you've seen that one yet.
I would love to see it.
Oh, it's so good. And obviously Liz Fraser features in that a lot because they were a couple, and such a good doco.
Did he cover that song before they were a couple?
So yeah, so I think how they met was Jeff did the Tim Buckley tribute St Anne's Church in New York, and that was what sort of launched his solo career. It's where he met Gary Lucas and a few other people that he ended up working with. And I think Liz Fraser was also performing because she was a fan of Tim Buckley. I think that's how they first met. Yeah, I'm a bit of a Jeff Buckley nerd. He's my number one guy. What makes a good cover version for you, Katie?
I think it's sort of a long road to do a really good cover, because I think the magic of being a musician is finding your original signature sound, right? Is like what makes you you and what makes you different from everyone else. And that's the secret sauce, you know, is that someone the dream is that someone knows it's you in the first 4 bars of the intro before you've even started singing.
Yeah.
And then applying that to the way that you approach a cover, I think is just magical. And I'm a big Nina Simone fan and I love Billie Holiday, and I think it's an Ella Fitzgerald. I love listening to that kind of older generation of singers where they weren't necessarily always writing their own material, but they would very carefully choose whose songs they were using because they could communicate them on a very personal level. So I think it's really making it your own, not trying to copy what was there, and then doing that really well, because also you can just butcher something brilliant.
There's nothing worse. Track 4, Katie, is if you could play a song to your 18-year-old self, what song would you pick for that?
I think, so as I said, I was a bit of a latecomer to being a kind of fan of albums and records. And I think I would probably like to have heard Hunky Dory sooner.
Yeah.
I didn't really listen to David Bowie properly until I was in my second half of my 20s. And I think I would have liked to have heard the way that he wrote and the structure and the experimental nature of it a little bit earlier.
What sort of stuff were you listening to when you were 18?
Well, funnily enough, the first album the first album I bought for myself ever was actually the Cocteau Twins, because I won a writing competition at school, and the school then gave out book vouchers, and they didn't know that the bookshop had started selling albums. So we all ended up going and buying an album instead of a book. And my goth friend had said that I should get into Heaven or Las Vegas by the Cocteau Twins, and it just remains still, again, Liz Fraser, one of my favorite records of the time. But I think the record I bought myself that really was extremely formative. I went to a CD fair at my college when I was 18, and my other goth friend had said that I had to buy Tom Waits. So I bought Bone Machine. It was just the first one I picked up. And that record has stayed with me for life. It's just the approach to recording, the approach to writing, the approach to atmosphere and kind of realness in the room. So I was listening to Tom Waits, I was listening to James, I was listening to The Pretenders, I was listening to James Brown. I had sort of just about 10 records that I had on repeat, and they were all very different.
Track 5, Katie, if you were trying to woo someone like a romantic interest and you wanted to put a song on your mixtape for that, what song would you use for that, mate?
I fucking put one of mine. I reel them in with one of my songs. So I'd put Feel It All by Me.
And finally, for your mixtape, track 6 is a deep cut, an album track, B-side, or something like that, and that you feel is maybe a little bit underappreciated.
Oh, I was gonna say that this Mortal Coil song, sorry for this one. So I've got to have a think about what I would do. Oh, do you know what I would choose? I think I would choose, there's a Little Dragon track. They're a great band. Yukimi Nagano is the lead singer. So it's a song called Twice. And it's just a beautiful kind of electronic, yet still organic ballad. And she's singing in a very low register. And I often go to that song, whether I'm looking for something peaceful and calm, or just to remind myself that you can make a really powerful piece of music. It doesn't have to be 150 BPM and in your face.
We've got 2 minutes left, Katie, so we'll race through the Quickfire 5 questions as quick as we can. What's on your tour rider? Anything weird or interesting?
I've got a bit of a weird lunch that I sometimes have, and because you often don't get lunch on tour, so I have an avocado, a can of tuna, and some watermelon.
Do you have a pre-show ritual?
I can't believe I didn't used to do this, but I have to brush my teeth. I cannot now go on stage and sing. I didn't used to do it, and now.
How'd you start doing that?
I started doing it probably about 5 years ago, and now it's like, it just feels so nice to sing with a minty mouth. So it has to happen. I would leave stage to go and do it if I'd forgotten.
Dream collaborator, alive or dead?
Oh my God. I mean, original lineup, Led Zeppelin.
A side note, Robert Plant does an amazing cover version of Songs of the Siren as well, and that's well worth checking out. Yeah, it's really good. What is your favourite city to play live?
Gosh, that's a good question. It's a really, really hard question.
Glasgow is by far the most popular choice in that category.
Glasgow is absolutely wicked, but I'm going to say Rio.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the 2 times I've played in Rio, it's just bananas. I don't know, they're just unhinged. They're so uninhibited, the South American music fans.
Finally, if you could time travel to see one concert in history, which concert would you see?
God, just one. I think I'm going to go and see The Who at 5 a.m. at Woodstock.
Great one. Fantastic.
They were meant to play in the evening, and it just, everything got pushed back so much.
Yeah.
They played at 5 a.m, and there's no lights. There was 2 little spot lamps.
Yeah.
and the sun's coming up and everyone's absolutely off their tits watching you. Oh, amazing.
Okay, Katie, it is the ITER Telescope 20th anniversary tour, May 2026, coming to Australia. It is destroyalllines.com. For tickets to that one, safe travels down under, Katie. Can't wait to see you, mate. Good luck. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Mixtape podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to go to the top of the page and rate it 5 stars, or give us a like or follow on social media at the Mixtape podcast and radio show. Don't forget, there's over 100 archive episodes just waiting to be discovered, and all you need to do is visit themixtapepodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.